Imagine not even qualifying for one of the biggest tournaments in golf and returning a year later to win it. That's not just a comeback, that's revenge. And that's exactly what JJ Spaun did. 12 months ago, he was an afterthought. Ranked outside the top 100, commentators didn't even mention him. Fans had forgotten him, and most believed he was done. But Spaun didn't just claw his way back into form. He stormed into the 2025 US Open and silenced every critic. Today we're telling the story of the underdog who refused to stay down. This is how JJ Spaun took ultimate revenge and proved everyone wrong. JJ Spaun wasn't born with a silver spoon or country club memberships. He grew up in a modest neighborhood in Los Angeles, raised by a working-class family where golf wasn't a luxury they could afford. It was just a passion nurtured with whatever was available. At just 3 years old, he was swinging around a plastic golf club set that his mom had gifted him. His father, seeing that spark, set up a net in their garage where young JJ would spend hours hitting balls. There were no private coaches guiding him, just repetition, instinct, and raw determination. His background wasn't typical of a future PGA Tour player either. With Filipino and Mexican heritage on his mother's side and European roots from his father, Spaun represents a cultural mix that's rare in professional golf, and he wears it with pride. That same focus he had in the garage carried him to San Diego State University, where he wasn't a star recruit. He had to walk onto a team already stacked with higher-ranked players. But he was never bothered by that. Spaun had made a habit of carving his own path, and this was only the beginning. During his senior season, Spaun won 3 individual titles and finally earned respect as a player at San Diego State. But graduating didn't come with a golden ticket to the PGA Tour. There were no sponsors waiting, no easy entry. His journey into professional golf started the same way his childhood game had, underfunded, yet full of resolve. He turned pro after his graduation in 2012, and instead of bright lights, he stepped into the shadows of the golf world, the mini tours. He played on the Gateway Tour and the Mackenzie Tour in Canada. To put it simply, these were circuits known more for motel rooms, long drives, and peanut butter sandwiches than prize money. In 2013, though, Spaun got his first real taste of success. He won a Gateway Tour event in Arizona, defeating Jimmy Gunn by a single stroke. The $10,000 prize he won wasn't just a check, it was a lifeline. He used that money to fund his summer season on PGA Tour Canada, where he finished 38th on the order of merit, just enough to keep his card for the next year. But the following season was brutal for Spaun. In 2014, he missed 6 of 7 cuts and earned just $825 in the whole season. This meant that his tour status slipped away, and with it came the pressure most golf fans never see. The question of whether the dream is even financially sustainable. But in typical Spaun fashion, he didn't walk away. He went back to qualifying school, battled through a tough field, and finished tied for 8th place. This earned him back his playing privileges for the 2015 season. That year, everything changed. Spaun returned to PGA Tour Canada in 2015 with something to prove, not just to the world, but to himself. And this time, he wasn't just trying to survive, he was trying to dominate. He secured 2 wins that season and finished inside the top 10 in nearly every event he played. This consistency was new to him, and he could feel his confidence growing with every round. For the first time in years, JJ Spaun looked like a player who wasn't just fighting for a place on the big stage, he belonged on it. He ended the season on top of the money list and was named PGA Tour Canada's Player of the Year. That earned him full status on the Web.com Tour for 2016, a crucial step closer to the PGA Tour, and Spaun made that year count. In August 2016, on his 26th birthday, he delivered his most important performance yet. a victory at the New Sentinel Open. With that win, he earned something that had remained out of his reach for years, a PGA Tour card. Finally, after 4 years of grinding through golf's lower tiers, JJ Spaun had broken through to the sport's top level. But the story was far from over. Breaking into the PGA Tour is one part of the challenge, staying there is another. In the 2016-17 season, his rookie year, Spaun made a strong start with 3 top 10 finishes and ended the year 97th in the FedEx Cup standings. This was definitely a solid debut. He built on that momentum in 2017-18, collecting 4 top 10s and climbed to 62nd in the standings. But in 2018-19, his form dipped. He managed only 2 top 10 finishes and dropped to 99th in the rankings. Then came 2019-20, a disappointing season with no top 25 finishes and a final position of 185th in the FedEx Cup. Under normal circumstances, that would have meant losing his tour card, but due to the COVID-19 shortened season, the PGA Tour allowed players to retain their status. Still, Spaun sensed something wasn't right. "I was just playing bad, like I was lost," he admitted. "I didn't know where my swing was. I didn't know what to do." Actually, the problem was deeper than just his form. For years, Spaun had battled fatigue, unexplained weight loss, and a decline in performance. In 2018, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He changed his diet, took medication, and tried to manage it, but his condition only worsened. Finally, in 2021, he got the real answer. Spaun had been misdiagnosed. He actually had type 1 diabetes, an autoimmune condition that required a completely different treatment plan. Now, knowing the right diagnosis, he adjusted his routine and medication. While it didn't turn things around overnight, it gave him something he hadn't had in a long time: control. And soon, it would set the stage for his greatest redemption. In the 2021 season, Spaun dropped outside the top 500 in the official World Golf Ranking and once again faced the very real possibility of losing his PGA Tour status, this time for good. He finished that season ranked 174th in the FedEx Cup standings, which was not enough to keep his card. But just like before, when everything seemed on the verge of slipping away, things changed. He entered the Korn Ferry Tour Finals and made a statement at the Albertsons Boise Open, finishing second and regaining his PGA Tour card for the 2021-2022 season. Then came the breakthrough he had worked toward for nearly a decade. In April 2022 at the Valero Texas Open, Spaun finally had his moment. After 147 PGA Tour starts, he had his first win. He entered the final round tied for the lead and won by 2 strokes. That win earned him a spot at the Masters and marked a turning point in his career. The 2024 PGA Tour season began with high hopes, but quickly turned into another test of endurance for Spaun. He struggled right from the beginning. By June, he was sitting outside the top 180 in the FedEx Cup rankings. He was missing all the cuts and was struggling to find his momentum. For the first time in his golfing career, he started to ask a question he had never let himself consider before. Was this it? He admitted that if he failed to keep his PGA Tour card that season, he might walk away from the sport. But once again, something shifted. In the second half of the season, Spaun stepped up his game. He found form and secured 3 top 10 finishes, just enough to retain his status for 2025. He had survived yet another low, but fate wasn't finished with him yet. What came next wasn't just a comeback, it was ruthless revenge, fueled by every missed cut, every setback, and every moment he felt like giving up. This was the kind of comeback that rewrites careers. In June 2025, Spaun didn't arrive at Oakmont Country Club as a favorite. He wasn't a headline. In fact, most analysts barely mentioned his name. But from the opening round of the 2025 US Open, it was clear something was different. Spaun's game looked sharp, and he had a clarity we hadn't seen in him before. His swing was balanced. His putting was confident. He stayed steady even while others rushed. By Sunday, the conditions got tough. The wind picked up, the greens got faster, and the big names started falling off the leaderboard. But Spaun kept playing like a man with nothing to lose and everything to prove. He birdied the 14th, then the 16th, and when he stepped up to the 18th tee, all he needed was one last clean finish. Then he holed an astonishing 64-foot birdie, the longest putt of the tournament, and that moment sealed it all. 1 year after almost quitting, he walked off with a major. JJ Spaun, the underdog who nearly walked away, is now the US Open champion.